Bienvenidos! In today's video, we're going to be working with the imperfect progressive. You might remember the present progressive. So we'll do a little review and then jump right into this. Recuerdas? Do you remember? So the present progressive is something you probably have already learned. It's for actions happening now. So we're really trying to emphasize that an action is taking place currently. So like I am studying. We use it a lot more in English than in Spanish. It's used more sparingly. So to form the tense, simple formula is star. That's the present of a star. And a present participle. So that's how we get the ing. So to make that formula, just to be a little more clear. So again, a star is going to be in the present tense, since this is the present progressive, so conjugate a star. You choose one of those conjugations first, based on your subject. Estoy, estás, está, estamos, estáis, están. And then you need your present participle, your ing, your verb in an ing form. So for Ir verbs, you get rid of ar and you add ando. That's how you get ing. So if you have hablar, we get rid of that ar at the end, add ando for hablando. That says talking or speaking, and that's the present participle. Now for er or ir verbs, again, we add a new ending, so yendo. So we get rid of the ending, add yendo instead. So instead of comer, we get rid of er. And then it would be comiendo for eating with that nice ing. I want to say I am talking. Like right now, estoy hablando would be the full form of the present progressive to say it's happening right now. Now we move into the imperfect progressive. So this is the new stuff. And we use this to describe something that was taking place over a period of time in the past. So you see that ing again, that taking place. So same formula, star plus the present participle will get us there. Now though, for a star, we're going to be doing something a wee bit different because we're in the imperfect progressive. We need to conjugate a star in the imperfect. So that would become estaba, estabas, estaba, estábamos, estabais, y estaban, estaban. And then the present participles remain the same. So for an AR verb, super simple. We add ando again to get that ing ending. And for ER and IR, we add iendo to get that ing ending for those verbs. Easy peasy. Now let's talk about irregular present participles. So when the ando and iendo items are irregular, we have to memorize those things. Luckily, they're the same in present and imperfect progressive because they both use the same present participles. So for IR stem changing verbs, they're going to have changes as present participles as well. So we've got three different types, E to IE, O to U, and I to Y. So in E to I, we've got decir, to say or to tell, pedir, to ask for, repetir, to repeat, seguir, to follow or continue, servir, to serve, and vestir, to dress. Then we've got dormir for our O to U category, which is to sleep. And then in I to Y, these are a little weird, and we'll go over those and why they have that change in that double vowel situation. But creer means to believe, leer is to read, and traer is to bring. All of these will have irregular ing forms. So let's take a look. I've underlined the vowels that are going to change based on the type and category in orange. Let's take a look at these participles. So for saying or telling, diciendo. Asking for, pidiendo. Repeating, repitiendo. Following, siguiendo. Serving, sirviendo. Dressing, vistiendo. Then for dormir, that's going to become durmiendo with that nice U there. And now we're over to those weird ones again. Now, these three have double vowels in their infinitive, which means what would usually have an I and E endo gets changed to a Y instead. So this is creyendo, leyendo, and trayendo. Makes it much easier to pronounce because now we've separated those vowels. So those are our irregular participles. Because they're irregular, that means that we have to memorize these. It's really important that you just recognize they're irregular and they're going to have that type of spelling change that we've seen. All right, let's talk about object pronouns with this type of construction. So by those I mean direct object pronouns, indirect object pronouns, and reflexives. So DOPS, IOPS, and reflexives. So how do you use those with this formula? Star plus present participle. Regardless of if it's present progressive or imperfect progressive, the rules remain the same. So we have a couple different options. You could put that object pronoun before the conjugated verb, which in this case is a star, so it would go up front. Or option number 2 is you can attach it to the end of the present participle. But if you do that, because you messed with the length of the word, we have to add an accent. So if it's ando, it'll be over the A in ando. If it's yendo, it'll go over the E in yendo to keep that original pronunciation that we had before we tacked on the object pronoun at the end. So to show you an example of how these could take two different forms, if I want to say I was saying it, like the answer, I would use la, the DOP, for it because of respuesta, answer. So here are my two options. I could say yo estaba diciéndola, attach and have that accent. I was saying it. Or option number 2, yo la estaba diciendo. Both of those are completely valid. They just have different options of where to put the DOP. Now, the imperfect progressive shows up because it often works with the preterite. So we're going to talk about imperfect progressive with the preterite. The imperfect progressive tells us what was taking place in the past, but the preterite can tell us a specific occurrence in the past, like an interruption. So if I say something like, yo estaba estudiando cuando mi amiga me llamó, this cuando is really important because now it gives me options for two different verbs. I can say what was taking place. I was studying. What was the interruption? My friend called me. It happened in that specific moment. I can swap the order of that too. So the preterite could go first, and I could start with cuando mi amiga me llamó, comma, yo estaba estudiando. I was studying. So again, the ongoing action, the continuous action, that's going to be in the imperfect progressive. Whatever's the specific occurrence or the interruption, that's going to be in the preterite tense in the other clause. That's the imperfect progressive. So memorize those irregular participles and the formula star plus present participle. Gracias. Adiós.